So today we're going to be making a basic vinaigrette. A basic vinaigrette is an emulsion where you mix two ingredients that don't normally mix together, and by using an agitation with a whisk, you get them broken up into small droplets so that they stay emulsified and that the flavors are evenly dispersed throughout. In order to do this, I need to whisk and I need to pour at the same time, and unless you have four hands, which I don't, you need to come up with some sort of a tool that will stabilize the bowl so it's not rocking all over the table. And I use a smaller sauce pot, and I'll put a towel in there and seat the bowl right in the pot so that when I'm whisking it doesn't move around on me. So the ratio for vinaigrette is 1 part emulsifying agent, 3 parts vinegar, and you can use whatever vinegar you want, any flavor. The stronger the vinegar, the more oil you're going to want to use to balance out the flavor. The granules of pepper and salt help the oil and the vinegar, the droplets, attach, and they help keep an emulsification. I want to add just a little bit because I don't want to overpower it. I don't want to have too salty or too peppery a vinaigrette. I want to be able to adjust that at the end. This is actually what we call 80-20, which is an oil that's already blended by the manufacturer. So it's 80% canola oil, 20% olive oil, and it's already mixed, so I don't have to worry about adding any extra oils, but that's always an option. In order to start, I want to make sure that I create an emulsification right from the beginning. So I want to just add the oil in very small amounts, in small droplets, and make sure that it gets emulsified in really, really well. What I'm looking for is I want to make sure I don't see any oil floating on top of the product. I want to make sure that it gets all mixed in as best as possible, and it gets broken down into tiny droplets so that it stays suspended in the emulsifying agent, which is the Dijon mustard. Once I'm sure I have a really good emulsion, you can see it starts getting a little bit thicker, and I don't see any separation. I don't see any droplets of oil floating around the top when I stop. And then we're just about finished adding all of our oil in there. And you can see we have a really nice smooth emulsion where the oil is totally emulsified in with the vinegar. When you finish your emulsion and you have a nice smooth consistency and the oil is all emulsified into the vinegar and the emulsifying agent, you want to taste it to make sure that the balance is right. When you taste it straight, it's going to be a little strong. And you should anticipate that. But the best way is to also taste it with a little bit of lettuce. That'll give you the idea of what it's going to taste like on the finished product. The lettuce dilutes the flavor of the acid. And so it really comes out and complements the different flavors of the different lettuces that you're going to get. When you go to prepare your salad, it's best to dress the salad right before you're going to serve it so that the vinaigrette doesn't stay on there too long, otherwise it will wilt the lettuce and it'll end up being soggy. So if I add too much or if I don't whisk it in properly, it starts to get overly saturated with the oil, and you can see that it's starting to come out a little bit right now. And then the whole thing will just kind of dissipate and lose its thickness, and you can see that everything just went to liquid and the oil just separated out. So if that happens to you, it's because too much oil got added at one time or too much oil for the ratio of vinegar and emulsifying agent. There are ways to fix this, but you end up spending more time and a lot more oil and ingredients trying to get it back. Sometimes it's best to just start from scratch.